Welcome to Heartland TV. I'm Apostle Jeremy Scott Gibbs.
And I'm Prophet Kenneth DeMars.
And we want to talk to you about the love of money. Not money. The love of money. 1 Timothy chapter 6, it says, it's the love of money that is the root of all evil. And I've heard songs and people and so many things quoting it wrong, saying money is the root of all evil. No, money is a tool. And how you use that tool is either evil or good. But the tool itself is not in itself inherently evil. Mm-hmm. It's what you do with it. And what I specifically want to talk about in this country, in America, and beyond, but specifically in this country, is the fact that Christians, the vast majority of them, love money. Mm-hmm. And it's the root of evil. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of Christians out there who, for the sake of a paycheck, for the sake of a government handout, will do the wrong things. And that needs to change. God's bringing about a judgment on the earth through evil bankers who are doing it, but God's allowing it to happen. And if we're going to love our paychecks and turn our back on liberty and what is right and justice, then we're going to be held responsible for it. So let me read the passage to you. 1 Timothy chapter 6, it says, but godliness with contentment is great gain. And I'm starting in the middle of the passage, but you can read the whole thing for yourself. It says, for we brought nothing into the world, and we can take nothing out. But if we had food and clothing, we will be content with that. People who want to get rich fall into temptation and a trap and many foolish and harmful desires that plunge men into ruin and destruction. Well, this world is being plunged into ruin and destruction right now, specifically because of the evil of other men who want to get rich. So this isn't always a direct cause and effect, is it? Where I want to get rich, so I'm going to plunge myself into ruin. I'm plunging other people into ruin.
Right.
And this says, that verse 10 says, for the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. Now I want to stop there, because that's the way the NIV translated it. All kinds. It's not what it says. In the Greek it says, it's the word pas, and it means all. The love of money is the root of all evil. And when I was reading this, when the Lord was bringing this up to me, I asked him, I said, Lord, how can money, because I think about the enemy, the devil. And I said, how can the love of money be the root of all evil? Because the devil wasn't after money.
Right.
When he fell, did what he did and walked away from God. And I said, Lord, what does that mean? And he said, it's about control. Whoever has the money has control of everything else. Mm-hmm. Because if you don't have money, you can't feed yourself. You can't take care of things. Mm-hmm. So it's the love of money. It's not being content in that. That is the root of all evil.
Hence why our government takes us into Afghanistan to get the oil and the poppy fields, because that's where all the money's being made.
Absolutely. And that's what this is about. We're talking about the love of money. We're not talking about money. We're talking about the love of money. And I want everyone to realize, when you will sell out your neighbor for your paycheck, and you don't want to see it that way, you don't want to look at it that way, but that's what it is. When you won't stand up for their right to be free, you're selling out for your paycheck. And there's a lot of people working in government. Government's what, the highest, the biggest employer
in America, at least.
And how many of those people, how many of you, and we've heard this over and over again, well, I know what the government's doing is wrong, but if I say something, I could lose my job.
Yeah, or there are some of my own family members who, it just doesn't matter. If you try to stand up, then they'll just wipe you out and say it was an accident or something.
And that's fear. It's the love of money. Mm-hmm. And we got to talk about this. The love of money is the root of all evil, because you will turn your back on what is right to keep a paycheck, to keep a job. They did that in Nazi Germany. The reason that the Nazis had so many people and the army had so many people was because the country was destroyed financially, and the only jobs left were the military jobs. So you said, oh, I got to feed my family, so I got to have this job. And then your superior officer says, you go kill those Jews. You go kill those Czechs. You go kill those Poles. And you said, oh, okay, I'll go do it. Because I got to feed my family.
Right, yeah, you have no other choice.
Tell me that isn't the love of money.
Right.
Like you hadn't, like there was no other choice.
Right.
I want to read this out of Ecclesiastes. This is chapter 5, it starts in verse 8, and it says, if you see the poor oppressed in a district, and justice and rights denied, do not be surprised at such a thing. For one official is eyed by a higher one, and over them both are others higher still. The increase of the land is taken by all. The king himself profits from the field. Whoever loves money never has money enough, and whoever loves wealth is never satisfied with his income, and this too is meaningless. There are people that have money that they could never spend in a lifetime, and they're pursuing even more. And again, this isn't about money. It's the love of money. You know, the church needs to operate on money. God provides money. But here's one thing. A deception in this country. We think because our money says in God we trust that we're actually trusting God. We do. We read that dollar bill and it says in God we trust, and we think, see, our country's trusting God. While you stare at that fiat paper currency, that fake paper, it has no intrinsic value. Gold, if you had some gold, you have some silver, but even our coins, we were talking about this the other day. Our coins not even real. Yeah. Your pennies, they're not copper. They're lead, covered in copper. It's all fake. And yet, this is the thing that was amazing to me that I was talking about the other day with, I don't remember who we were talking to, but I said, not only is the love of money the root of all evil, but what happens when you are in love with something that's not even real money?
Yeah.
It's just a barter system. It's just something you can use it to buy things, but the reality is it's not real money. It's not real gold. It's not real silver. It's a piece of paper backed by somebody's promise.
Right.
What happens when those people all of a sudden disappear, when the bank collapses?
Everybody freaks out and the government takes control.
And that's what they want to do because they're in love with money. That's where taxes come from. Mm-hmm. They love money. There are right taxes. There are lawful taxes. In our country, they're written in the Constitution what are lawful taxes. There's a bracket, a parameter of what are lawful taxes. And then there's all these other things that they try to slip in. That they sneak in over here, they sneak in over there. That a lot of times what they do is they'll say, well, we need this tax for a certain time. And everybody goes, okay, well, we understand you need this tax for a certain time.
And then it stays forever.
Yeah, a certain time passes and, we found another reason for that.
Mm-hmm. Or even more, in our country with the Federal Reserve, we turned over our citizens to the World Bank. So we pay the federal taxes so that we can pay off that debt. Yet, whenever we get close, or whenever we got close to paying off that debt, the president takes the gold in the country. Or we go start a new war on drugs, or on terrorism, or anything to keep us enslaved to the system.
Right. Absolutely. The servant, or the lender, the borrower is servant to the lender. Mm-hmm. And therefore, the lender wants to keep you in perpetual servitude. That's why our economy is based on debt. That's what credit is. It's all garbage. Mm-hmm. You know, I got into that scam of credit cards and everything like that, and it is a scam of, you only have to pay a certain amount of interest. Man, by the time you pay those credit cards off, you paid for whatever you purchased 3-4 times. Mm-hmm. It's ridiculous.